Welcome to another episode of Crawfordsville Connection, the City of Crawfordsville's weekly podcast that comes out every Monday morning. I'm your host, Sarah Summer, and I'm joined in the studio every week with Mayor Todd Barton to keep our community up to date on current events, city workings, and to hear from community members on a variety of topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Welcome back to another episode of Crawfordsville Connection. I'm your host, Sarah Summer, and today I'm joined in the studio by Mayor Todd Barton.
Hello.
Hello. We've made it to the last episode of 2024.
Very last episode. How about that?
That's crazy. The year went by pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how you look at
it. Well, this week we are going to talk about a 2024 year wrap up, and it will just highlight everything that has been accomplished for the year.
Not everything, but a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, we thought it'd be kind of fun at the end of the year just to kind of look back at what's happened in 2024. And we thought that would be like part of an episode. And then we started putting the list together and like, this is probably a whole episode.
Yeah, it's a whole episode.
So we don't want to go too long here, but a lot has happened in 2024. It has been a very busy year. And I know we say that a lot. I think people kind of like, oh, sure, everybody's busy. No, it's like, it's really busy.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at our schedules and look at what's happening, we have had a lot going on in 2024. And I'm hoping 2025 is still productive, but maybe not quite as busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Little, breathing room sometimes.
Right? It would be nice. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of other things we want to work on. We just can't get to it. I mean, there's just literally only so many hours in the day. And we have had all these projects going on. But I firmly believe you make hay when you can, and the environment's been right, and we have to make things happen. So
absolutely,
that's where we're headed.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, we will remind folks that Wednesday, January 1st is a city holiday for New Year's Day, and our offices will be closed, and there will be no trash pickup on Wednesday, but that trash will be picked up on Thursday the 2nd. And if you're listening before then, Monday and Tuesday, trash is still being picked up from our Christmas holiday. It felt kind of funny with the weekend and being at the end of the week. So things got moved to this week.
And if you have questions, look at our social media or the website.
Yes.
And you can see right there, we have it all spelled out. It is a little confusing the way it fell this year. It made it kind of challenging.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we will just jump right in to a look back at 2024. Like you said, it was a busy year, and we are, just moving forward from everything that we did, and we'll continue to do those things. But, it's always good to stop and reflect on what did we accomplish.
Yeah, it surprises you when you start going through everything. And this is not an all-inclusive list. We're going to leave some things out, but this is some of the highlights, I think, some of the things that happened. So, and we had a new website this year.
We did.
We unveiled a new website, which is exciting.
It was. And, I think it's working much better than the site we had before. It's a little bit more comprehensive for us to be able to continuously update and keep our citizens informed. But it's also easier for the user to looking for that information.
Yeah, it's more user-friendly for us and for the public, for sure. And I think for the outside world looking at Crawfordsville, it's much more welcoming and user-friendly. So, and there will be more changes, as we move into 25 there. One thing we've really not talked about much, but by mid-year in 25, we'll start live streaming most of our public meetings.
Yes.
And that'll be tied into the website, which was part of the reason for the new website, too, to change that platform so we'd be able to do that in 25.
Yeah, and it really helped bring our brand together too.
Oh, absolutely.
The old website, it was still, operating under our old, brand in quotes. We didn't really have a brand. It was just...
That time gets away from you with a website. You think, we just did that. And then you look back and you're like, oh, that was 10 years ago. So I joked because some of the pictures on there had little kids. And I'm like, those kids are now like out of high school.
Yeah,
They're
grown
not
adults.
Little kids anymore. Yeah, so... Yes. So we have a new website unveiled.
Yes.
We've also unveiled the new logo park signage at all of our parks, which I think looks fantastic. All of our parks look the same, have the same signage. That's really cool. And some of our facilities are starting to get that signage as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So, looks good. If you've not seen those, I think the one that really is striking is the one on Mill Street or Milligan Park.
Yes,
we
it
really
looks
never
really
had good signage for Milligan Park, and now there's a nice sign there.
Yeah, so check them out. It's, we've said it before in some of our general updates. it's a really good opportunity for people to see what all we have to offer.
Yeah. Yeah. We have, for a community our size, a city our size, we have a lot of park and recreational quality of life offerings.
Yeah.
And we're proud of it.
Yes. And midway through the year, we also switched over our employee clinic and health insurance.
Yeah, kind of a behind the scenes things that really, the public probably not too interested in, but it's significant because, it has a profound effect on our employees and our ability to recruit employees and the budget ultimately. So we did switch our employee clinic. I know we talked about that some throughout the year, switched that to another provider, which is working out very well for us and has substantially, and I mean substantially, reduced the cost associated with doing that, which is fantastic. And we also changed our health insurance, and we're now in a pool of other cities. And the challenge we have with a city our size is, we're big enough to kind of go it by ourselves, but, you get one or two bad claims experiences per year and it throws all your numbers off.
Right.
So this puts us in a much larger pool with cities all around the state. And so we pool our resources and then that spreads that risk out. Some area cities that are in that same pool, City of Lafayette's in it, City of Terre Haute, some of those communities are in it as well. So we made that change mid-year, which seems to be working out well for us too. And we hope stabilizes health insurance costs. That's a significant number when you have the number of employees we have.
Right. And on our economic development front, we had a lot of big announcements this year.
We did, and I'm sure I'm leaving some out, but we had Weaver Popcorn make their announcement, building a new campus in the Commerce Park, a $15 million project, 12 to 14 jobs. They've broken ground, so if you get out there,
good out there.
Go out Concord Road, you'll see all the dirt moving just north of the Brickyard Nature Park, between there and Closure Systems International. So really excited about Weaver. That is a combination of some production where they actually process seed, but also R&D. And they'll be bringing clients in when it's done to kind of show them the process and how they do things. So we're really excited. A nice fit if you think about the R&D that's already in the park with American Flow Control. Then, of course, we had the announcement with Ira Whiskey right across the street from that. Now, that one has not broken yet, but that's a $5 million project, 5 to 10 jobs, and that's an aging facility.
Yes.
So that gets people confused.
Yeah, not an old facility.
Yeah, not an old facility. A facility for aging whiskey and drinks. So there will be a small venue there where some events can be held too. So that's also a nice fit in the Commerce Park. And then we had a really big announcement with Penguin Random House International. They are, if you drive by there, you can see this. They are adding 650,000 square feet to their Crawfordsville facility. That's massive.
Yeah.
And it was already a massive facility to start with. So, but if you think about their book distribution, Crawfordsville will become their premier hub in their entire worldwide network after this expansion. So, if you drive out 47 North and then go across Memorial Drive, you can see the project is underway. And it's like I said, it's a massive project. So we're really super excited that they're investing here in Crawfordsville.
It's pretty incredible, in the digital age that book production is still booming.
Well, yeah. And we talk about that a lot, with Lakeside, because people think, well, for years, everybody thought books were going away. And certainly I think books and printing changed a lot, but we've been on the winning end of that. So, the Lakeside's doing very well here. There are still a lot of things that had to be printed. And Penguin Random House, a partner of theirs, distributing those books all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating place to visit. It's all largely automated. So
that's cool.
You see pickers picking these books to fill orders, and these conveyors take them everywhere and get them packed and ready to ship out.
Wow.
There's a lot of books in that facility.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many books are in there. A lot of books, trust me.
Maybe we'll add that to a FAQ.
Yeah, we should. I saw a number earlier. I was researching stuff about, and I don't have it in front of me, how many tons of cheese are shipped out of Pace Dairy.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we have some really cool stuff in Crawfordsville. Another thing we had, and this was a really cool announcement, Midwest Bale Ties, which is located on Wabash Avenue, kind of a locally grown startup company. They announced and went through the tax abatement process. They are adding a state-of-the-art automated wire forming cell to their operation. So it's really it's really cool when we see a local company start to grow and grow and grow, and that's what's happening with them. They've been very successful, and they keep succeeding and growing. So we were really glad to partner with them, and we had that announcement this year. We also had, speaking out north of the Commerce Park, announcement that there will be a new Fairfield Inn built.
Yes.
Just north of where Kids Count is located. That's a $16.4 million project. It'll be 91 rooms and suites and about 28 jobs, and adds to our hotel capacity, which is severely needed. Now, some people will tell you it's not, but it is severely needed. We routinely fall short on the number of hotel rooms when we're trying to land big events.
Right.
It's a challenge for us. So this will really help bridge that gap.
Awesome. And out in the Commerce Park, we have what was traditionally known as the Ivy Tech facility that we are transitioning to our Crawfordsville Career Academy.
Yeah. So Ivy Tech's still there, but their lease was up and they really wanted to shrink their footprint in the building. They didn't need as much physical space as they did when the building was first constructed. And so we were able to work this out where we still have them. They still use about half the building. And then the other half has become the Crawfordsville Career Academy. And that's something we're doing in partnership with our 3 school corporations here in Montgomery County and Western Boone in neighboring Boone County. So we have our career tech ed programs there. We are going to be transitioning probably some more of the adult learning there. All those kinds of things are happening. We have the Industrial Career Academy. And then we also received a grant from Ascend Indiana, $175,000 grant to create an apprenticeship program as well. So all that stuff will be centralized and housed right there in that facility. And if you follow the news, you know in Indiana they're changing high school graduation requirements and really talking about how we guide students into career pathways. And every community is trying to figure out how to navigate this. And we had a huge advantage in that we already had the bricks and mortar with this facility. So we were able to just pivot and put some of this stuff in there, and it'll all be under one roof. You know, and think about us from a young person's perspective. It's all right there. And if they're going to continue with Ivy Tech, whatever they're going to do, it's all under one roof. So it's pretty cool. If you drive by there, you'll see the parking lot.
Yeah, it's brought some life back to the building.
It was pretty empty for a while. You know, with Ivy Tech and a lot of the classes were going remote and things like that. And now you see a lot of cars in that parking lot. Now they're on break right now. So holidays, it may not be the case, but
I drove out there this morning and there was no one.
Drive through there in January and you'll start to see. But we're really excited about that. And the new sign is up too.
Yes.
With our logo. It says Crawfordsville Career Academy and it has Ivy Tech on there as well.
Yes. So people will know and we'll start that, transition of referring to that building as the Career Academy.
Yeah, and really excited to be working with the schools on that. I mean, our superintendents here in our 3 school corporations and in Western Boone have been fantastic to work with. And I think, they see this as a bit of a work in progress or a blank canvas, so that it will evolve and change. But it creates a super exciting opportunity for our community and the young people in our community and probably adults too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we began a rural transit study.
Yeah, so Cheryl Morphew has been working on this from the economic development side. One of the things we really hear a lot from our employers when we have our business retention visits is transportation issues. Especially people just entering the workforce often face challenges in getting to and from work, until they reach that point where they buy their own vehicle, something like that. So we're working through that. The League of Women Voters is leading this study, and Cheryl's working with them very closely. It is far from being done, but it's underway, and I think that's important. And they're really looking around at other communities. I talk about us being a model a lot of times for other communities, and this time we're looking to others who have done more in this particular area. So looking around to see what others are doing and what might fit us. But we're not talking about a system of bus stops and buses everywhere.
Right.
We're not big enough for that. But what we are talking about is more of a targeted approach where we're getting workers to and from work, or people places they need to go. We have the Sunshine Vans, but that has a very strict focus area because of the funding stream. So how do we expand that to be a little broader?
Yeah.
So that's underway as well.
And W Enterprises opened their trash transfer station
They
this year.
did. That might not be exciting to everybody, but to a lot of us, that's exciting, especially to the city as we collect trash every day. To have a transfer facility back in Crawfordsville is huge. And we had one for years down on Bluff Street, and it had closed. And W Enterprises decided to open one up, went through the whole permitting process, construction process, and cut the ribbon on it this year. And it's been very, very successful, I believe. It's very busy. So, yeah, we have that right here in Crawfordsville again.
And we've done an episode on this, and we've been talking about this recently, but Purple Heart Parkway was completed.
It was. And I look back, we had the groundbreaking in April.
Yes.
And the ribbon cutting in late November.
Yeah.
That's
lightning speed.
in the world of government building a road, that is lightning speed for sure. So, really excited about that project. There's still a few finishing touches that have to happen in that intersection, especially, right there by the vet office. You'll notice it's constricted. They have barrels there. They're doing things. There were some utility issues that had to get worked out. That should be cleared up before too long. But if I've said this before, but if you've not driven down the new road, please do so.
Yes.
It's hard to put it in perspective and understand the magnitude of what we're talking about unless you go out there and actually drive it. It opens up literally a massive amount of land for development in the future of Crawfordsville. And it's done in a planned, proactive fashion, not reactive.
And it's just over a mile long. And when you're driving it, you realize just how much space 1 mile can hold.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. And a trail built into it, so that's already there. The cutouts are there for neighborhoods and retail. And there's still a lot of activity. We'll talk about it in the general update on the retail side. Now that the road's in, that'll start to break loose too.
Yeah.
So, Purple Heart is largely done.
It's awesome.
And it's open, and you can drive on it.
And we have also, with that, we've started a corridor study.
We have, jointly with Montgomery County. Now that we've taken Purple Heart from 47 to 231 and 231 to Ladoga Road, we're really thinking, larger scale and how do we line things up on the south side. Once we get, Purple Heart to Ladoga Road, you're only less than 2 miles easily from Comfort Drive that they just built off Nucor Road. So again, just trying to be proactive, and that hadn't happened historically in our community. Kind of, if you look around, neighborhoods were built, things were built, nothing lined up, everybody did their own thing, and we're trying to get ahead of that. So we're doing that to really think about how everything aligns. And of course, we have Skank Road that'll go under construction in 25. How does that fit into all this? So really trying to, create a roadmap and a plan for the future so that as development happens, these things can be built out, so that they all align and make sense.
Right.
Not saying they're going to be built anytime in the near future. We're not saying that at all, but we're at least preparing for it.
Yes.
Yes, and having a plan.
And, along 231, we've also completed a sewer extension and a water extension to, help with the projects down on the south side.
Those are massive projects, and it's, you don't see it that much now that it's all in the ground and covered up with dirt, but those are really big projects. And so we have water and sewer all the way, out past where the new city limits are, which is almost not to 300 South, but north of New Hope Church there, right in that area. So that's substantial, and that's what it's going to take for development to happen in that area, is to get those things in place. So we've done that. Hats off to Brandy for staying on top of that. Those were not easy projects to get done and move forward, and a lot of detail involved in those. So, but they're both done.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Those are big ones to check off the list.
And Arbor Homes with the Hawkview neighborhood, construction has started.
It has, and they're actually paving. So they're paving streets. Just had discussion with them about a week or two ago. They'll start building model homes here pretty soon, depending on the weather. So they're anxious to get some models up and get started in there. And again, we had to get that water and sewer in for them and some other projects. So, the Arbor is Hawkview is happening.
It's moving.
If you drive by there, you'll see it.
Yes,
you'll see the road set it back in there. I don't think you can drive back there yet, but probably before too long they'll be opened up where you can.
That's awesome. And Brickyard Nature Park has been completed.
Yeah, I felt like we talked about that one forever.
A long time.
Again, that's on the north side of Concord Road, right next to Wellbrook. 100 acres of amazing nature park with trails that you can go walk, and a nice parking lot and shelter. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, that one's gotten a lot of use already.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of good reviews. I said, I don't think we've ever do a project that we don't hear at least something negative, and
right.
that's an exception.
Yes.
I haven't heard anything negative on Brickyard yet. So, yeah, I think people will really understand it come spring when they can really get out there and enjoy a little bit more. But Brickyard is done. It's there for the community to enjoy. And again, it gets its name because there was people who grew up here call it the Brickyard.
Mm-hmm.
That's where bricks were made years ago, many, many years ago. And so hence the name, the Brickyard Nature Park. And there's a pond back there that you can walk around, and that's where they dug out the clay for the bricks.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool history.
And keeping on with our parks, Lincoln Park renovations were complete.
Yeah, it felt like that one took forever. We had some issues there getting that one done, but it's largely done now. It's open. So new basketball courts and a much larger parking lot and pickleball.
Yes. Big deal.
We learned that there's no group more passionate about what they do than pickleball players.
Yes.
Very passionate about what they do. So we're excited. You go by there. Now, the weather's not good now, but when the weather's good, there's people there playing all the time. And the only thing left to do there's historical markers coming. They're not like your normal historical markers. They're acrylic markers that mark the history of the site of the Lincoln School and a little bit about the people who went to school there.
Yes.
Yep.
And Milligan Park, there were some upgrades that we had been doing throughout the year, and those have been completed.
We did a lot of work in Milligan Park over the last couple of years, and really thinking back even further than that when we put the new restrooms in. So really the thought was that we had spent a lot of effort and time and money on our other neighborhood parks, but really hadn't put much into Milligan Park in a while.
Right.
So if you drive through there now, it's all been repaved. And all the parking lots that were gravel and just kind of, you really didn't know where the parking lot ended and the grass started.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those deals. That's all been cleaned up. There's nice paved parking lots with stripes and curbs and everything else. There's new playground equipment. A lot of really good stuff in Milligan Park.
Yeah, the baseball diamonds.
Baseball diamonds, softball diamonds were both reworked. New scoreboards. We still have some work to do on those.
Mm-hmm.
Still a work in progress, but they're much better than they were.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're excited about Milligan Park. It gets a lot of use, and it gets overlooked, I think, taken for granted all the time. And the most popular thing in Milligan Park, I'm pretty sure, is the disc golf.
Yeah.
There's always people in there playing disc golf. There's probably people in there right now. It's raining right now.
Right.
There's probably people in there. The disc golf is very popular, and that we love that because that gets people in every corner of that park playing that. So, yeah. So Milligan Park has received some love the last couple of years, and we're excited about Milligan Park.
And our erosion grant phase 1 has been completed as well.
Yeah. Again, hats off to Brandy Allen for staying on top of that and making that happen. But we're able to buy some of the properties on Wayne Avenue. Some of those houses have been torn down.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of them just in the nick of time before it fell in the creek.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I think the important thing is, we were able to use grant funding and get in there and make those people whole. They paid for their houses their whole life, and now it's going to fall in the creek. So they were able to get, the appraised value out of the house and move on someplace safer and not, lose the value of their home. So,
absolutely.
So phase 1 is largely done. There's a few things she's probably crossing off the list, and we are in the process, hopefully, of applying for phase 2 and 3.
Yes.
So it was divided. If you read that study, it was divided into 3 phases. We've decided, because phase 1 took so long, let's just combine phase 2 and 3 together. So we've submitted our pre-application, and next we'll submit the application. Now, I'll put a great big asterisk here. This is federal money that comes through state government. And you know what's happening at the federal and the state levels, right? Massive administration changes. So Everything is, I mean, our hands are kind of tied. We just have to wait on things to play out so we can apply and move this forward. And we know it's frustrating for people who are still left in those areas. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And so we're going to apply for phase 2 and 3, and kind of also talking about some backup plans too, because we really need to get this issue totally resolved at some point. The creek is going to continue moving, and it's going to continue eroding. We have very good studies by geologists that show us how far it will go and what it will impact. So those are the areas we're trying to address.
Right.
Yep.
And we had a large announcement for Motocross of Nations.
We did. Yeah, we had a very big announcement. Motocross of Nations 2025. We've spent a lot of time talking about it. It will be in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Yes.
It'll be in the United States, right here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. So we're hard at work on that. We took a little break around the holidays. Really excited about bringing that to our community, because we're going to basically welcome the world to Crawfordsville.
Yeah. Biggest event.
It's going to be fun. So we're really looking forward to that. Was really excited to make that announcement. The announcement was made in England at the 2024 event. Like so many things we do, we knew months in advance,
right?
That we were successful and it was coming here, but we couldn't really say anything. Now we jokingly say it's the worst kept secret ever.
Oh yeah,
because it was all over the internet and everybody was, had already concluded what was happening. But the official announcement came. We got to participate in that, which was kind of cool because we were in England, so working out the time differences and the logistics and the connectivity where we were at in England was not good. So there were all kinds of challenges, but we pulled it off, and it'll be fun this year. So stay tuned for more on that front.
Yes, and Mobile Integrated Health became an official city department.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that just started this year.
Yeah.
But it's always been a part of the fire department, and we made it its own department. And so they have a director, an assistant director, and they continue to do good things, often overlooked because they're just out there every day, in people's homes, helping them through the health challenges that they have, whether that's chronic disease management or it's a quick response team in substance abuse and addiction and mental health, or whether it's Project Swaddle and Bundle with prenatal care. I mean, they're out there every day making a real difference in people's lives. And so it was important that they became their own department for long-term sustainability.
Yeah.
And kind of where we're at in that process, a lot of communities are doing this or trying to do this. We're way ahead of the curve on that. We were really kind of the pioneer. And we're to that point that we're trying to figure out sustainability, where most of them are trying to figure out how to get started.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how do we fund this and make this sustainable for years and years to come.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting pretty close. In fact, we're going to present, there's a national conference on mobile integrated health coming up in March, and Crawfordsville will be featured just talking about this particular subject. Like, look, we have a successful program. The data is strong. We've proven the concept. How do we sustain it moving forward? And that sounds simple, but you're dealing with healthcare finance, which is extremely complicated and doesn't make any sense to anybody, I don't think. And then you're dealing with government finance, and how those two intersect and intertwine can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But we're determined, and like I said, I think we're getting pretty close to getting it. We're already partially there. So, yep, Mobile Integrated Health, own city department. Again, they have the signage too.
They do. They were the first
the
department.
first one. Yeah, right across from City Hall. You'll see them there on the corner of Water and Pike.
Yes. And on April 8th, we welcomed thousands of visitors for the total eclipse.
We did. Almost forgot about that. So I was
Yeah.
looking at my calendar. I'm like, oh, we had a total eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fun day.
It was. That was a big topic too for kind of a while. We didn't really know what to expect until it happened.
Yeah, we didn't know like how many people are going to show up or what's it going to be, and there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people came because we were kind of on that edge of totality, and we were a place that was easy to get to. I know we all stood out in front of City Hall and watched, and we had all these visitors who just drove in that day right before, and they were all from Chicago and Wisconsin and all over the place.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. It was fun to welcome them to Crawfordsville and experience it together. And then when it was over, massive traffic.
Yes.
On 231, I-65 was kind of backed up. I mean, everything was backed up. So 74 was backed up. But that was that was a rare, special occasion. And I think this community really stepped up and welcomed visitors from all over. So
yes,
it was fun.
And Crawfordsville, Montgomery County was featured at the U.S. Department of Commerce Child Care Summit in D.C. this year.
Yeah, in June, at the federal level, both the U.S. Department of Commerce and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce have really focused on early learning and child care as a workforce and an economic development issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they picked up very quickly on the fact that Crawfordsville's been working on that in Montgomery County for a little while,
right?
And have created a model here that brings together local government, state government, philanthropy with the community foundation, and then business, with Tempur Sealy and Lakeside, Nucor, go down the list. They're all involved. And it's a really good model. So that got picked up as a best practice model on the national level and was featured at their Child Care Summit in June, which was really cool. So really excited about that. We're going to continue working on that front. And we didn't talk about this, but the Early Learning Center, we broke ground on that in 24, and it'll be done in 25.
Right.
Yep.
And something that we took some time. This took the better part of the year waiting for some of this, but we finally were able to submit the FRA grant for the Market Street crossing.
So we submitted a grant to the Federal Railroad Administration for what's called a planning grant, but it takes you all the way up to construction to fix the Market Street Railroad crossing issue. We'll call it issue. How's that? And so, again, this is tied up. This does not involve the state. It just involves federal. But again, with administration changes and all that, we really don't have a clear timeline on when we'll hear.
Right.
So we just have to sit back and wait. And I feel like we submitted a really good application this time because it's based on data. And I know we did a whole episode on that. But we have, cameras there. We collect data. We know how many trains a day. We know how many minutes a day it's blocked. We know how many interactions with emergency vehicles, with pedestrians. We can calculate the economic impact. We can calculate the environmental impact. It's all there.
It's all there.
It's really strong. So now we play the waiting game. It's a very long-term play, whatever we do. But at some point, this community has to come to terms with that issue because it does have an impact on us. And you can see that in the data. And contrary to what a lot of people believe, we are not going to change the behavior of railroads.
Right.
They're doing what they're doing. They're interstate commerce. The city cannot interfere with interstate commerce. We cannot tell them they can't do what they're doing. And so we have to work around it and come to terms with it. And that's what we're trying to do here.
And this next one, I don't know if you ever thought you'd be able to say this, but construction started on the Ben-Hur building.
I can't wait to take that off our general updates. Say, there's nothing else to report. It's up and running. It's all good. And that's going to happen pretty soon.
Yes.
So just had some communication before we came in here to record with the owner. So Ben-Hur building is under construction. The new windows
they look awesome.
They look awesome, and I was thinking the other day, I walked through the parking lot north of City Hall, and I've spent 30 some years looking at that building from that perspective, and it just struck me how different it looks now.
Yeah.
It looks very different. That's underway. They're telling us, probably the end of first quarter, second quarter.
Wow.
They'll be done. I think the one concern is getting the elevator work done, and that's just because there's a bottleneck there. There are not many elevator people, if you will, firms that do that. And so they have to get them on site and get that installed and up and running. But it looks absolutely amazing, and we can't wait for the ribbon cutting and the grand opening where people can tour it. We do get inquiries, if people are interested in leasing and information. I've reached out to the owner, and what they've said is they're in the process right now of bringing a management company on board. And so they're really kind of holding off until they have that in place. And they don't want to commit too early. And then, like I say, they can't get the elevator installed. And so, people are, letting their lease expire somewhere else and hoping to move in, and it doesn't happen. So they want to wait till that timeline's a little bit firmed up.
Yeah.
Yep. But definitely by mid-year, that building will be occupied and up and running.
It's pretty awesome.
How cool will that be?
Pretty awesome. And for people that don't know or maybe have seen it, Water Street will actually be that main entrance.
Yeah, that'll be the main entrance, and there'll be that whole sidewalk there will get ripped out and reconfigured, so it'll look a lot different than it does now. So, yeah, it's going to be really neat.
Awesome. And construction on Aldi also started, and they're moving along.
It did. Yeah, they are. There's steel up, and they're up there welding and doing things. So, don't have an exact opening date on that, but easily by mid-year, if not before, probably late spring, early summer, somewhere in there. That'll be up and running. Yeah, that was rumored forever, and
Yes.
there was a lot involved in getting that permitting process done because of the interaction there with the state highway with US 231. But it's moving forward and it's happening, and people should be excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
More grocery coming, and that's what people have been asking for.
Yes, exactly right.
And this year we observed the 50th anniversary of the death of Lieutenant Russell Baldwin.
We did. On August 27th, we had a memorial service and, visited the site and visited the memorial in Milligan Park. And a lot of family members were here, Lieutenant Russell Baldwin's family members, including his son, who came up from Florida. It's kind of surreal that that's been 50 years.
Yeah.
And the thing I think that's so striking is it had such a profound impact on our community. The younger generations don't necessarily understand that, but it absolutely did. And it changed Crawfordsville. There's no doubt about it. And it changed the Crawfordsville Police Department too, without a doubt. And for that to be 50 years was really, it's profound to think it's been that long. And that impact is still there, for sure. So we're able to remember Lieutenant Baldwin. I think one of the things that's really interesting for me, I met with his family before, and especially his son. I always really enjoy my conversations with him. But there was a lady there who was the dispatcher that night, police dispatcher that night, and it was really interesting to hear from her. She was the last person to talk to Lieutenant Baldwin, right? And she talked about that, and then she basically got out of the profession shortly thereafter. She just couldn't deal with it because they were friends. Their families were friends. They did stuff together. But she came back. She no longer lives here. She came back, and that was kind of interesting to hear her perspective of the whole thing. So we did mark that, something that's been 50 years, and we'll never forget. We'll never forget that sacrifice in our community.
And this year, something that kind of came to a surprise to us, Crawfordsville was ranked 60th most dynamic micropolitan in the U.S.
Very much a surprise. Yeah. We didn't even know it till I think one of the Wabash professors picked it up, sent us an email and said, "Hey, look, I saw this pop up." And so we got to looking into it. So, yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Micropolitans are those areas not associated with a major metro area. So we're kind of out here on our own, doing our own thing, communities under 50,000 people. And to rank number 60, we were the second highest ranked in Indiana.
Yes.
I'm not sure how we were second, not first. Just kidding.
Right.
But second ranked in Indiana and one of the top in the country. So it's a real, I think, it's a testament to what's happening here, and the fact that if you looked at how they ranked people, it's about teamwork and the community coming together and all the different offerings we have in this community. It wasn't about one single thing.
Right.
It was that total package, and it says that this is telling people this is a good place to live if you want this kind of lifestyle. Yep.
And this is just a short snippet of everything.
Yeah, we didn't cover it all.
The quick version of what happened this year, and we cover it all monthly in our general updates in more depth and detail, but and then we have every episode in between of things going on that might not be directly related to the work we're doing in the city and whatnot, but it's been an awesome 2024.
It has been, and 25 is going to be good too.
Yes.
Yep. Lots of good stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline right now. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. And again, we thank you all for listening. Each week we appreciate those who listen and give us the feedback of, what they heard, what they're appreciating hearing. And we hear it all the time. People listening.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm kind of shocked sometimes at the number of people who come up to me and tell me they listen and how they enjoy it. And that's fantastic. That's why we do this, and that's why we keep doing it, because of that feedback that we get. So, we just want to find the best way to communicate, share what's happening that we can, and this seems to be the answer.
Yeah, it's easy to listen to, and you can listen on your own time.
Yeah, I jokingly say I did an email newsletter for a while, and I think that was painful for me and the people reading it. It's just hard to put it all, and it was a challenge. But this way seems to really work really well for us. So, yeah, and like you say, if you have something you want to hear about, let us know.
Yeah,
we'll get an episode put together on it.
Yes, we look forward to. We've got some good stuff in the works for 25. Including Motocross of Nations. Hopefully, we'll get some riders on. Different officials and.
Yeah, we hope to do quite a few episodes on that leading up to the event. And one of the things we're working on, I talked about the live stream of our city meetings, so that'll be a move forward. We're trying to figure out how to get call-ins for our podcast.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds simple, but we're in the 1930s City Hall, and getting phone lines into our former vault turned into a podcast studio is not an easy proposition. So once we get that figured out, that will really open up, I think, our ability to bring different guests into the program, because they can just call in. They don't physically have to be here.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as always, thank you so much for listening, and we appreciate your support from 2024, and we look forward to continuing to inform you all in 2025. And as always, please share topics with us. If you have anything you want to hear about, let us know. And don't forget to check out Yodel, our community connections calendar, for all things happening right here in Crawfordsville. We thank you for listening, and we'll see you next year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you aren't already, follow us on Facebook at City of Crawfordsville Official, on Twitter at City of Seaville, and on Instagram at City of Crawfordsville. We hope you have a wonderful day and can't wait for you to join us next week.